Many different tools in Photoshop use brushes. Some of those tools include the blur tool, the dodge tool, the eraser, and of course the brush. Here I have the brush, and if you look at the bottom of the toolbar, we have black ink. And if you look at the options bar, you can change the size of the brush. So if you make the brush larger or smaller, you should see a representation on the page of what that mark will look like. So here I have a very soft brush because in the brush options, here's the hardness. So if we go from 0 to 100% hardness, you can see the difference between those marks. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when you're using a very soft brush, if we just do a single click, you can see how the edge of the brush or the mark of the brush goes far beyond the brush itself. So that's something to keep in mind if you're using, we'll say, the quick mask to select something. Let me clear the page. And I can show you some more options about the brush. Here, if you click this icon, you get some brush presets and also many more options about changing your brush. At the bottom of this preset, you see a little icon showing you what the brush will look like. So you can change how the brush tapers. And I will let you play with these settings as you find projects that they'll work with. One of the most interesting ones is this wet edges, and that creates a great effect. So if we make a brush with wet edges, you can see how that's different. And as we overlap, so this is just like having a paintbrush that's dipped in a little water first before the paint. Now, if you have a graphics tablet or a pen tablet, you can actually use these with an airbrush setting. So let me clear the screen one more time. And so if you have an airbrush or a graphics tablet, you can simulate an airbrush. Here you can see we still have the wet edges, but as we press harder, we'll get a thicker line, and if we press lighter, we'll get a thinner line. If you have a pen tablet, here you can turn on and off some of those settings. Now at any time, if you find yourself unsure of how to turn off some of these settings, here in the upper left-hand corner of the options bar, you have the little brush. But if you do a right mouse click, you can reset the tool back to default. Of course, it also changed the size of the brush back to what the default setting was. So now you can see the default setting for that brush. Now similarly, you can also do a right mouse click here and reset all the tools. And that can be kind of helpful because if you've made a lot of changing for the settings in many of the different tools, this will send them all back to factory default. We'll click OK.